the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Rounds in that organization, winning basketball games. Kenny, is Brandon Miller making the rookie leap for you as both just a player and more of what you thought he was going to be coming in? And does he look like a better player long-term than you had previously anticipated?
I wouldn't necessarily, because I was very high on Brandon Miller coming into the draft just because of the skill set he had with the length. I didn't know he was this good defensively, to be honest with you. But yeah, he's so not the Nuggets. We were talking about the Nuggets before. So the Hornets, they have kind of cleared the way for him in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Rozier is gone, which I had no idea he was so beloved in Charlotte. But he's gone now, so the shots are there for Brandon Miller, and we've kind of seen him really start to take off in that sense. And also, they bring in Seth Curry. They bring in Grant Williams, players who I won't necessarily say have winning experience, but they haven't been playing for the Hornets this whole time. Yeah. So they're a little more serious now. They won a couple games.
Mitch Kupchak moving to an advisory role. That's huge for the organization.
Definitely huge. So they're setting Brandon Miller up pretty nicely. But the way he's been playing has been incredible. Like 3-level scoring already. He's very ahead of schedule on that. Like I said before, the defense, the playmaking is something I also didn't know he had. I don't know his assist numbers. He's not averaging 7 or 8 assists, but just watching him, the quick decisions he's making out there on the floor is really impressive. And so I definitely think it's interesting to me. And my co-host actually said one of those things when this also. Usually players run into a rookie wall where like they kind of struggle around this time of the season. Brandon Miller's just looked like an all NBA guy. He's not going to get there because that's not traditional, but he's been playing like one the past couple weeks.
I also think the Hornets kind of like, we talk about like, we look at different organizations and where they are and like what kind of upside they have. Like the Magic, for instance, like the Magic are good. They've made the leap. They're going to be a playoff team. The Magic have one right now potential perennial top 20 guy. Like they've done a lot right. Like the Magic have built the right way. They have added a bunch of length. They're a fun team, but a lot of guys that just are not going to move the needle. Like they're just, it's Paolo. And then, I mean, unless you're just a huge Franz guy as a top 20, I don't see Jalen Suggs being a top 20 guy. You look around the league and you're like, okay, or look around them, compare them to the rest of the league. It's like just not a lot of first team, second team, all NBA potential. But then you look at the Hornets who've done so much wrong over the years. And you're like, LaMelo, there is a path to him still being, if he's healthy, a top 20, top 25 player in the league perennially. Brandon Miller looks like a perennial top 20, top 25 ceiling in the league. Mark Williams is awesome. Like I like he's a long-term anchor at the 5. That was a great pick. You're going to have another high lottery pick this year. Like the Hornets are still it might sound crazy, but you get the right GM in there. But for me, I would still say the ceiling for Charlotte with this group, Chris, might be a little bit underrated. And I think Brandon Miller and LaMelo and company, that's still a solid core foundation if you can keep those guys happy and surround them with some good veterans like Grant Williams and Seth Curry. Like I don't think it's as dire as some people might think from the outside in Charlotte.
Well, the Eastern Conference is getting better. And like in general, like the wing positions are just loaded with talent. Like Brandon Miller needs to be like a yearly, like 22, 23 point guy, 7 rebound, 4 assists, continue to be like a decent shooter, but that's like one skill I was kind of worried he wouldn't be able to carry over from college, but he's still connecting on like 37, 38% from 3-point range, which is good.
I think he'll
for
be
him.
Fine there. Yeah.
It's just with Charlotte in general, they've botched so many of their draft picks in the past, and that's kind of like the reputation that they have. And even the one that they absolutely nailed in LaMelo Ball, he can't stay on the court long enough to really do anything with Charlotte, unfortunately. And like you alluded to, like they do have some nice pieces right now. They're bringing in some vets to kind of work with those guys, but at the same time, like they're not like it's going to take a while before they match up with like even a team like Orlando, because Orlando has a good history of like connecting on those draft picks. And when you're a rebuilding franchise where signing free agents is like next to impossible, you have to do it like Orlando is doing and just connect on those picks. And I'm still very hesitant on putting any sort of stock into Charlotte. I'm personally happy that Brandon Miller is playing as well as he is, because this rookie class in general has basically just been a 2-player show with Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren, who was another class altogether. But at the same time, I root for him. Charlotte, again, they're still a ways away. Like the Bruno Caboclo quote, like 2 years away from being 2 years away.
Oh man, Bruno Caboclo. That is a name I've not heard in a long time. Not that Rafael Araujo, was it Araujo?
Rafael Araujo.
Araujo. Not that he has anything to do with this, Corban, but I just wanted to throw Rafael Araujo. We're just naming some former Raptors. I didn't have a transition there. What do you think? Which way do you lean with Brandon Miller and Charlotte?
I started off kind of really not low on him. I wasn't as high on him as I am on Scoot, right? And obviously, like guards, NBA, and all the things. Like the verdict is still out. I'm not gonna just throw in after middle of the season like, oh, it's worse. But Brandon Miller has definitely surpassed my expectations. Like Kenny said, like Chris said, like he's been really productive, and I love his shot making ability. As I've been watching basically every Hornets game, and he's like grown in terms of his ability to create his mid range shot. He had a shot against Indiana yesterday where he got a mismatch with Miles Turner, kind of did like a smooth left to right crossover, and then as Miles Turner was kind of getting back to react, he pulls up for the smooth mid. He was smooth. It was nice, and it wasn't something he was doing at the beginning of the season, right? And honestly, I guess in the scouting reports, a mid range game was something he was really strong on going into college, and then just kind of disappeared. But it's coming back, and not only that, his creation, which still isn't super great, is definitely not. I'd called him like a modern Wesley Johnson. I'm gonna walk that back a little bit. I was definitely way more negative than I should have been on him.
He's a whole lot better than Wesley Johnson.
Most definitely. At the time, I was just mad. It was just disgust. I don't know. I was like Chris. I was on hating hours, I guess, when I said that. But no.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Yeah. But he's definitely. I mean, I'm not gonna call him Paul George light yet, but he's definitely like in the middle there, and like you could see the higher end outcome being that. But yeah, I like him. And I also let me get a moment to shout out, because something I really liked is the Hornets offseason moves. I mean, not offseason moves, their trade deadline moves. Like to get anything back for Gordon Hayward was great. To get a young guard and Trey Mann, Vasily Micic, who's also been really good, has been helpful. Grant Williams has been solid. Obviously, it didn't work out in Dallas, but it's really working out here now. Like they have balance. They have competent NBA players. Literally, the minute they got those guys, I think Nick Richards, Leaky Black, and I want to say one other player for the Hornets immediately went down to Greensboro. Like they went starting those guys to okay, you go back to the G League, we're good. Like just having competent NBA players is a big thing, but much less having some actual talent there, and guys that fit the role. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Seth Curry with 18 points and a good win for them yesterday. So like at the end of the day, the Hornets, I mean, they are a little bit better. They're still a really bad team, but they are at least competent. And Brandon Miller has definitely been a star rookie for this team.
I think it's an appealing job, because I don't think Clifford's back next year, so you'll have a blank slate with coach and GM. And I don't know, I think it's a sneaky. If I'm a up and coming coach and GM, I think this would be an interesting opportunity here, and I think there's more room for growth and success than people might anticipate over the last couple years, based on what we've seen from Charlotte. Chris, do you like Philly more with Hield and Maxey to hold the fort without Embiid? Why or why not? Are you
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.